June 19th, 2021. What is going on, my pretty babies? I hope your Saturday slash your weekend is off to a decent start so far. Mad shout out to those of you out there that's going to be celebrating Father's Day Sunday. And for those of you that maybe are going to take that time of reflection, remembering that father, that grandfather, that you get the gist of it, definitely thoughts to you and yours. So you guys got to forgive me. We were supposed to actually come on around 4 in the afternoon, but I had a early day today and I kind of felt the effects of it mixed in with some studying I've been doing because I've got final exams that's going to be coming up in less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks. So I've really been doing a lot of cramming and my diabetes was actually acting up a little bit today. So I kind of was trying to navigate all of that. I'm good though. I'm actually good though. Day kicked off rather interesting because I don't think I talked about it on the show since we've been back, but my iPad has been doing some weird shit these past couple of months, and it really started getting worse, I would say, within the past 2 weeks, give or take. So it all started off actually with my iPad around the edges, just one side of the four corners, just one side of it, they actually started opening up. And I'm looking at that going, oh, hey, what the hell? That's not good. And I'm one of those type of people. I don't know if you're kind of like me, but when you've invested a decent amount of money into a electronic device, if you're like me, you're doing your very best to make sure nothing weird happens to that freaking electronic device. So for me, I'm just always on point with my devices. I do not play around, especially when it comes to my tablets. I make sure that from day one that I have my tablet, I've also got the very best protective case that's humanly possible, and it stays in that case. And what I look for, teach it to them, but what I look for in my cases, I look for that good, strong durability where if you happen to drop it, okay, you drop your tablet, no problem. It's in that really good, strong, durable, padded case. You're good to go. So for me, I look for stuff like that. And I also actually look for stuff that really does a good job protecting the front screen, if anything, above all else, for sure. On top of what I just mentioned, making sure that the front screen is protected as well. I don't want to have it be half-assed. I need full freaking protection. I know some people, they kind of lose track of how they go about packaging their tablet when they're traveling and all that. I am very, very particular when I'm traveling. Everywhere I go, my girl will tell you, everywhere I go, either the tablet is with me, it's in my hands, and I'm going where I need to go, or I'm maybe putting it in the trunk, I'm maybe putting it in the back seat. If on rare occasion, kind of like what we just did with the wedding and traveling and just all over the place, as my mother-in-law had said, you guys went a little bit all over the place, I would have it in a suitcase and it would actually be the very last thing that would be packed. And I make sure all my shit is on even playing field when it comes to packing and all that. So somehow, I don't know how, guys, but hope you don't mind the tech talk too, but it's kind of nice talking a little tech from time to time. You know we usually do anyway. But it was weird because I took some Gorilla Glue and I said, hey, you know what? Let's take care of that. We can squash that real quick. So did that around the edges of that one section and okay, all right, good to go. But on top of that, I was also seeing this weird bar that was popping up in the center of the tablet. And sometimes it would go away. Other times it would not, and it really started to get to a point where now it was just there. Like, oh man, what the hell's going on here? So finally, I think I kind of told you guys loosely yesterday, but it was more so on social media. I didn't really talk about it on the shows. So actually last weekend, when me and the missus had got back in and everything, we kind of got back in town officially. we decided that we were going to go up to an Apple store that was actually close to our neck of the woods. We go there, and you cannot make this shit up, y'all. Tell me if this is the most racist, fucked up shit you've ever heard in your life. Some of the people I had talked to about this on Discord and on YouTube, they already heard about this and was like, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. But feel me on this for a second. So me and my girl last weekend, we're getting ready to go into this Apple store. Real nice neighborhood and everything. As we're getting ready to go in there, we see that there is a white couple that go in. They got their little mask on and everything. And they've got two dogs that's on leashes. And the dogs are very hyperactive. They're barking and they're kind of having a little bit of a hard time disciplining their dogs, keeping them in check and shit. So we give them their space. I say to the missus, I say, you know what? Give them about 60 seconds. Let them get knee deep into the store. Then we'll go on ahead. We'll go in there. So we go in there. We get this young black girl. She asks us, what were we doing there? Do we have an appointment? And we're like, nah, but we need some help for this iPad. Blah, 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 blah. We tell her what's going on. She goes, okay, all right. So, we'll see if we can get you checked in and everything. And, sir, now she's talking to me. You can't wear that mask in here. Now, all I was wearing was a black bandana and it has some skulls on it. And I gotta tell you guys something. I have been wearing bandanas, full disclosure. I've been wearing bandanas since this goddamn pandemic began. And every single where that I've traveled, I've never had any issues whatsoever. Any establishment that I've gone to, restaurants, you name it, never an issue. Never an issue. If anything, I have seen people, not me, knock on wood, not me, because it's never happened to me, but I have seen people that had no type of face covering whatsoever get denied access until they go get themselves a mask. Till then, they can't come in. They cannot proceed any further. So this was the first time since the pandemic had hit that, what the fuck, why I'm wearing a... So she gives me one of those crappy ass, the traditional blue mask. Me personally, I don't like those masks because when you put it on, you got all that, you got all that on the sides. You got all that open air space and shit. I don't like that. And now some people can say, yeah, but with a bandana, it's not really, you can make that argument, but if you're just asking me straight up as far as my comfort level, my preference, especially even though I'm fully vaccinated, yeah, you know what, give me a bandana. So she gives me one of those blue masks. I go back out, and I'm looking at my girl and Tams is just, she already knows what time it is. So that was strike one. Strike two was, we're told, oh yeah, so what's going on with the iPad? We tell them what's going on with the iPad. And they go, okay, yeah, we can definitely get you taken care of. It's going to be about maybe 30 minutes. Would you like to wait 30 minutes or would you like to come back on Tuesday? And we're like, oh no, we'll go ahead. We'll wait the 30 minutes. So the guy's like, yeah, go get yourself a bite to eat. Next thing you know, boom, 30 minutes go past. Come on in. Time for your appointment. All right, cool. So we did this we were done with them at about 1:40 in the afternoon. So we got in our heads, okay, 30 minutes. All right, cool. So we come back at 50 o'clock, 10. All right, so we come back at about 2:10, 2:15. All right, cool. So we actually give them until 2:30. And we come back and we get this bullshit about, oh, well, because of what was going on with your iPad, our algorithm automatically assessed the situation, and as a result, it bumped you back. So instead of being seen at 2:10, 2:15, we aren't going to be looking at you until 4 o'clock this afternoon. Now, keep in mind what I just said. Oh, you're going to wait the 30 minutes or you can come back Tuesday. And so we're like, wait a minute, what's going on here? You just told us that 30 minutes and now you're saying we got to wait like freaking 2 hours just to be seen? That's not what you said before. So apparently there was like a huge miscommunication from the standpoint of the little young assistant that wasn't really doing her job properly, didn't really give us the 411 skinny on what all was happening. So I just said, fuck this place. I said, fuck. I'm like, well, I'm not waiting no fucking 2 hours. Like, we already waited the 30 minutes right there. I'm like, no. So basically, we're out here in this neighborhood for 2.5 hours. Like, fuck that. Ain't nobody got time for that shit. So I had set up an appointment like later that night after we got in the house. I set up an appointment for this Saturday. And so we actually had went to a different Apple store. This one, I say, it's been a good minute, man. I actually had went to, shout out to my folks that's in the DMV area. I actually went to the Pentagon City Mall. I have not been to the Pentagon City Mall since I was in freaking high school, man. I could remember hooking classes with some of my buddies, and we would just go hanging out at the freaking mall. We'd be looking at the babes, trying to see who we could pick up. Of course, we was eating some of the bomb ass food they had there at the food court. We used to hit up FYE, Suncoast, KB Toys, Toys R Us. Man, we had our favorites that we would hit up, man. So it was nice being back there again. Had so many fond memories. I remember actually being at that mall in, I want to say, going into my first year in college, the first rodeo round. And I remember when we and my friends had went, that there was a liquidation sale that was going on with KB Toys and all that, and it was just, man, it was so heartbreaking. But at the same time, we were able to get away with some really cool ass toys and shit, and all kinds of little knickknacks and all that. So, we went to the Apple store. This is where it gets really good, so I hope you've been with me so far. So we find out what's been going on with the iPad, why it's been acting the way that it's been acting. We find out that, and it was a really cool brother. I wish I could remember his name. For those of you that's like in the DMV, that I wish I could remember his name. I don't even think Tams knows the guy's name as well, man. That's the sad part. I don't even think she knows his name. But it was a real cool brother. He was into animation and all that, and we were talking about animated series and stuff that he's been watching on Netflix and all that. And real cool dude. So I showed him my tablet, and he's like, all right, Lee, so you tell me, what's going on here, what's the problem? And I told him, and he's like, okay, I see exactly what's going on here. You know why you're having the problems that you're having? I'm like, what's going on? It's your motherboard. Your motherboard is messed up. Your motherboard is pretty much bent. It's out of whack. And he's like, look. He's like, you see this? I'm like, He's like, look, your tablet is slightly bent. Like, look at the center. And I'm like, oh, damn. Like, yeah, you're right. He's like, yeah, this is why you're having the problems that you're having. So he crunched up the numbers and everything. And then strike one, we didn't have Apple Care for it. For those of you that aren't into the Apple products, Apple Care is basically, you can pay a monthly fee for it, which is as low as maybe, I don't know, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 or something like that. You pay that a month. And kind of look at that, if you know a thing or two about your cell phone plan, because everybody has a cell phone plan, you usually pay a little something so you could jump the jump plan. So you can try to, when the timing is right for you and you ready to get that next upgrade phone, you already got that little jump plan going. So you pretty much will either pay the difference or you're already paid off. You're good to go. So that's kind of like what the Apple Care is. You feel me? So we didn't have Apple Care. The iPad was out of warranty. So you're going, okay, so either we're going to get one that's totally free to match, or we're going to have to come out of pocket. What's going on here? So dude tells us straight up, this is not repairable. This kind of an old model. Not really old, because I actually had got that iPad about 3.5 years ago. It'll be 4 years this Christmas. So he crunches the numbers and he's like factoring in everything that's going on right now. It's like, we can give you a replacement. And the replacement that he was talking about giving me, it was kind of one tier up of what I already have. There's going to be one tier up. What I'm pushing is an iPad Pro. I'm pushing an iPad Pro 10.5. So that's 10.5 screen basically. So they were talking about giving me an iPad Pro 11. And grand total, it was going to be over $450. And I'm going, because me and my girl, we already had crunched in the numbers, and we both agreed that, as high as we'd be willing to go is maybe 300, really 200. But they wanted $450. It was like, forget it. So we even tried to go to our cell phone provider and see if we could get the discount from them and everything. But they basically were like, nah, guys, even though you're caught up, you still have this remaining balance for your cell phone plan that's due. We can't hook you up with an iPad until the bill actually is zero. Like, there's nothing going on with it. Like, even though you paid the past due amount, you got this current one that's generated. And it kind of makes a little bit of sense when you think about it, right? Because it's kind of like, nah, take care of what you got first. Then, so I sadly, I rely so much on my tablet. I never really knew how much I relied on it until these past couple of days, what's been going on, because I pretty much have not been able to use my iPad. If it's not been doing that gray bar shit that I was talking about, it's also on its own. And again, now we know it's because of the motherboard. It's having motherboard issues. It will either stay at the Apple logo, or if I am able to get to the home screen, whether I'm trying to check email, log into the Blackboard of my school site so I can do some work or whatever, it always crashes. And it's like, no matter what I do, doesn't last that long. If I'm lucky, I might be able to get 10 minutes out of it and just, right? So I've learned the hard way, man. I've become so dependent. I do all of this stuff. So it's forced me to be more active in front of my laptop and everything. Now, on a good note, I still have my very first iPad that I got several years ago. And the only reason why I stopped using it on the regular is because I wanted to upgrade. I wanted to upgrade on the size of it, because that one is 16 gigabytes. I wanted to upgrade on just all the features, because there was a lot more I was finding that I was doing on the iPad, and I pretty much outgrew it. I started off with that one as an introductory iPad, introductory tablet, and that one's pretty. Those of you that remember the very first series of iPads that came out, you all remember them things are sturdy as hell. I mean, you want to talk about durable. I mean, you could literally do some fucked up WWE shit with them tablets from back in the day, because they were pretty thick and all that. So I've temporarily gone back to that one until I can, but I just felt it was good information to pass along to you guys, because you just never know. You just never know. Now, if you were to ask me going forward, so Lee, after this experience, would you still recommend an iPad for folks that have been thinking about it off and on for a couple of years? And I mean, it's really, really good. I think the first question I would put out there to you, if you're interested, is what do you plan on doing? Because if you just plan on checking emails, if you just plan on looking at some YouTube videos, browse the web, basic shit, then you may not exactly need an iPad, especially knowing that. And look, I'm not the only one that's had that issue where in the center, the iPad has pretty much bent. It's not like you're doing anything. You're just everyday use. You're just, you got your tablet and you're just, you're going like this, or you're playing a game and, you're going like this and all that. And yet somehow it eventually fucking bends, kind of like that almost. And, so, if you were to ask me straight up, I would say, because what I'm planning on going for right now, I'm planning on going for a Microsoft Surface. One of Tam's friends actually has an iPad and she's got a Surface, and she's pretty, she thinks both are good, but from what I've seen research wise, it seems the Surface edges out more than the Pro. You know, for me to have something for 3.5 years, I haven't done anything to it. It still looks brand new. When I say that bad boy still looks brand new, you know how normally, those of you that have had an iPad, you know how normally you look at the back of it and it's starting to get a little bit dingy and all that. I did this last iPad I had, got so fucking perfect. None of that is on the back of the iPad. None of that is on the back of it. So, you know, until they focus more on the durability of these iPad models, because many Apple techs will tell you, don't take my word for it, look at some of the stuff that people have experienced similar to mine on YouTube. A lot of the Apple tech guys will say, and they've gone on record, the parts are kind of cheap. As far as that durability, all that shit that you're looking for, it's really, really lacking. So you actually might do a little bit better going with a Microsoft Surface or whatever. So FYI. So that was kind of cool. But it was what it was. It was kind of a learning experience. So that's pretty much how my day had kicked off. It kicked off early in the morning today doing that. And then pretty much coming back home. We had the worst drive from hell. I won't even get into that, but we had the worst drive from hell. Time I get in the house, I'm irritable. My diabetes is acting up. It's kind of getting the best of me. And, you know, I'm trying to get my study on, and I actually crashed after a couple of hours of that shit. So that's why we got the show coming on a little bit late for you guys. But hopefully you guys understand and everything like that. Hey, by the way, you notice anything different with the show so far? You notice anything different? In case you might not be able to tell, go look at the last 2 shows that we put out, because we actually had return this week. Look at the past 2 shows that we put out. Little tinkering here and there. I'm messing around with the lighting. You know, I'm messing around, as you guys can see, with the new layout graphics and all that. But the newest thing that I just did, I'm messing around now with the lighting and all that. I kind of felt that with the last series of videos for, you know, extended period of time, I was looking a little bit grayed out. It kind of seemed as though there was too much light that was on me, and it was making me look grayish, gray hawkish. So I decided to, okay, let me try to flush myself out a little bit more. So let me know what you think about that. I think it's kind of cool. I showed it to the missus the other day, and she said, you know what, this is actually pretty good, because she saw the before and the after. She's like, you need to stick with this one. So still fine tuning, getting it down. Something else we had worked on was lagging. I saw for at least a series of months there was serious lagging that was going on, so that should be greatly reduced now for you guys. Which reminds me, by the way, let me actually minimize my window here, so you guys, there we go. Yeah, so, you know, we're working out the kinks. I see somebody in the chat has said saw me in the Thunderdome last night. Yeah, in case you guys had missed it, not just with Friday, right? Friday, not just with Friday's SmackDown, but also on Monday's WWE Raw. I actually was invited to participate in the Thunderdome. Now, if in case you guys don't know, you know, maybe you didn't watch Raw, you can't stomach watching Raw, you know, but you want a nice little smile on your face and say, hey, there's my boy. Yeah, go check out Raw from this past Monday. I can't remember what match it was, because I did talk about it on Wednesday's RCWR show towards the beginning of the episode. But I was there for pretty much, I would say, 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours, 40 minutes of Monday's WWE Raw Thunderdome. I actually was in front of the hard camera. So if you're pretty much watching the action that's happening in the ring, and you look at the first 4 to 5 rows of the virtual panel, you could actually see me clear as day. So it was a really awesome experience. As always, you know, because I think this is what I just did with SmackDown. I believe that was my 3rd, maybe 4th time. There was one time I got in there and I was only there for a hot minute. And then I had to do something. So I think this is either my 3rd or the 4th time that I've done the Thunderdome. But yeah, I was also on SmackDown. I got invited to do the SmackDown Thunderdome. And I said, okay, yeah, sure. Originally, I wasn't even going to do anything with the Thunderdome, but they invited me, and it was, oh, well, you know what? I got the home to myself. I'm done catching up on my studies for now. Sure, what the hell? This go round where they put me on Friday SmackDown, pretty much, you see when the superstars first come out, they're making their grand entrances. Okay, pretend you're looking at your TV right now and you got the superstars that's coming out. If you basically look to what's going to be your respected left and you look at the monitors that's right there, I'm pretty much, I believe I'm in the second or third row. You can't miss me. You know, well, you can if you're not really paying attention and you're kind of looking too hard. But if you look, pretty much every single time the superstars were coming out, they pretty much had me right there. So they put me in a really, really good spot. I thought that was pretty good, man. So no, for those of you wondering, I'm not gonna be doing the Thunderdome for Hell in a Cell. I'm not gonna be doing it. Would I possibly do another Thunderdome for maybe Monday's Raw? Possibly. I possibly might do it. By the way, and I did not notice, I knew the voice had sounded familiar. I just wasn't sure who it was exactly because I couldn't quite put a face on it. But for those of you that's been doing the Thunderdome as well, maybe you can actually confirm this. And I don't want to fucking take all the credit for this. I actually want to give credit to my boy DT, Don Tony. Shout out to him. I kept thinking that the person that was pretty much the Thunderdome producer, I kept thinking it was Matt Coon. Because when anybody that follows Matt Coon's work and all that on social media, he's got a distinct voice. So I was under the impression that maybe it was Matt Coon, but it turns out, because DT recognized the voice, Ted DiBiase. It's actually Ted DiBiase and when I kind of close my eyes and I think about it a little bit more, I'm picturing that voice. Yeah, it's freaking Ted DiBiase. That's pretty much, he's pretty cool. He's pretty much, okay, guys, we're on a 3-minute break. We'll be back in 3 minutes. And then he'll say, okay, guys, we're getting ready to come back in 30 seconds. We need energy. We need lots of energy. Let's see you guys. All right. Let's see you guys' reactions on the screens. Sometimes if he feels during a match, it's a little bit too quiet. If it's a little bit too dead, come on, people, let's see those reactions. Come on. And he's pretty cool about it. He's pretty cool about it. But man, it can be very, very draining when you're doing that Thunderdome experience. My God, that's kind of one of the reasons why I don't do it as much, is because it feels as though you're at a concert, because you're constantly clapping, you're cheering, you're booing, you're trying to be very energetic and all that other stuff. And I'm sure that some of the producers and all that, they're looking at what's going on with the fans in the Thunderdome, and I'm sure they're probably saying to themselves, okay, we got this person right here, they're way too dead, we need to just, for example, and I wasn't trying to pick on the little kid, my whole thing was, he's not energetic, he's not doing anything. Some parent had put their freaking 5, 6, 7-year-old kid in front of the freaking computer for, I think it was WWE Raw, and the little kid is just, I apologize to those that are just hearing the audio version of this, so you can't see exactly what I'm doing. You're encouraged to check out the webcast though. But the little kid is in front of the webcam and he's like this. No reactions whatsoever. Just a stone cold blank face. Just, I don't know if he's been possessed by a zombie or what, but I mean, he's just no energy whatsoever, no cheering, no booing. He's just in front of the camera. At one point you see him stretch out his arms and he looked bored as shit. And I just couldn't help but say, man, I'm okay with kids, right? WWE, all about the kids, but can we get some energetic kids? And that kid didn't last that long. He probably if he was lucky, he probably last one segment. And then they got rid of him, because I remember seeing the guy that replaced the kid. That guy had plenty of freaking energy. If I were to even try to describe him, you guys would be like, that sounds like every single body that was probably in the Thunderdome League. So I'm not going to even bother describing my man. But yeah, it feels like you're at a concert, because you're constantly, yeah, ooh. And it's so funny because every time Tams is like, oh man, it sounded like you really had a great time, man. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like, I had to actually channel that out. That's what the freaking producer wanted. So whenever you hear, the "Let's Go Roman" or barely, I've done enough of these Thunderdomes. I can tell you, they don't tell us to do any of that. That is pre-recorded. What you hear anytime you hear barely, Roman, you suck. Anytime you hear shit like that, that's pre-recorded. The only thing that they tell us to do so that it can basically come off well as you're watching it on your TV, only thing they tell us to do, cheer, boo. Okay, people, this person's coming out. Let's see those cheers. Oh, look at that heinous, despicable act that person did. Come on, people, give those reactions. Boo that person for what they did just there. Oh, here comes blah, blah, blah. Hey, isn't this match good so far? Hey, give it up for that spot that just went down. That's pretty much it. That is pretty much it. Everything else is pretty much pre-recorded, FYI. I think what I'll probably do is, and hopefully it won't get me in trouble, what I'll probably do is next time I do the Thunderdome, I'll record a little bit of the experience just so you guys can get a better idea of what's going on and everything, and you can kind of judge for yourself. But it's not hard. It really isn't. I would say the only thing you just got to make sure you have available is that time frame to actually be in front of a computer, a laptop, a tablet, where you're stationary, and you're going to be stationary for that 2+ hours, and you're able to pretty much do everything. It works out pretty good though, because when they take a commercial break, you get to stretch out, because he tells you every time. Ted DiBiase, he tells you every time, all right, people, 2-minute break, right? And he'll even say, if you want to stretch out, now's the time. And he'll even say, okay, people, we're getting ready to come back in 90 seconds. Please, everybody, take your seats, right? He'll even do that once in a blue moon. I've caught it maybe twice now. There was maybe 2 instances where somebody was kind of late getting to their seat. And I remember Ted DiBiase, he actually called their name. Believe it or not, he actually called their name. So I don't know if that was a case where maybe this is somebody that is a veteran virtual seater, but it was kind of interesting that he specifically had called them out and had asked them, please take your seat now, so, but yeah, I'll probably record a little something for you guys. Good shit though. It was good shit. I was happy to do the Thunderdome. So we got Hell in a Cell that's going on this weekend. Of course, one of the big main topics that a lot of people were talking about was Friday SmackDown. We saw the announcement first break out on social media. Of all places of social media, we find out that Rey Mysterio, Roman Reigns, were going to be having that epic match, that Hell in a Cell match, not going down at the actual pay-per-view, but that it was actually going to be going down on SmackDown for the championship. You're going, wait a minute, what's going on here? Why are we going in this direction? And it had a lot of people confused, trying to make sense out of this move, but also at the same time bring up another question. Okay, so what exactly is going to be going down at Hell in a Cell? Who's possibly going to be replacing Roman and Rey at Hell in a Cell? And remember, it was several weeks ago I had said to you guys when it came to Bayley and Bianca Belair. I said to you guys, look, the way the trajectory is going right now, I said I wouldn't be surprised if maybe Bianca and Bayley, you can go back, check out the archives. I wouldn't be surprised if Bianca and Bayley were to have a Hell in a Cell match for that SmackDown Women's Championship. But I did add on top of that, I didn't just say that, I added on top of that, what makes more sense would be for Bayley to come out there mad as hell and how she had lost that match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Put the blame on the fact that Bianca Belair was using that ponytail. It's all about that goddamn ponytail. And if it wasn't for that goddamn ponytail, Bayley would be the SmackDown Women's Champion. And we essentially see her having freaking online petitions, legit online petitions that Bayley would create to have people sign, basically saying she got screwed, she deserves a rematch, but not just any old rematch. If Bayley even, if Bianca Belair even tries to use her hair in any type of fashion as a weapon, automatically the title will change hands. That's what I had proposed, but I didn't just stop there. I also had said somehow Bianca Belair would prevail, and then maybe you have these girls, maybe you have them go at it in a hair versus hair match. And then maybe the end result is a Hell in a Cell. But I even said to you guys, I said in my perfect world, that's how you basically build it up. But WWE's logic, they're probably going to go jump over all that shit and just go right to a Hell in a Cell. Remember that? I'm sure you guys, now that I've put that out there, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably remember it now. So for me, I never ever once doubted that, oh, well, what about the women? I always felt that the women were going to be representing in some form as far as a Hell in a Cell goes. I think I even showed a little bit of love to possibly a Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley Hell in a Cell. I even gave a little bit of a nod to that as well, but I was leaning more towards Bayley and Bianca Belair having a Hell in a Cell match. I just kind of felt that was where we were going with that. So, I guess in WWE's case, they weren't trying to have there be a case where there's X amount of Hell in a Cell matches. You feel where I'm coming from? I guess it was a case where, no, you know what? 2 Hell in a Cell matches, that's okay. We don't need 3, we don't need 4. We're good. We can just leave it right at this amount, right? So I gotta say, it does make the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view as a whole a little bit more lackluster when you really stop and think about it, because when you look at that Hell in a Cell card, and we'll talk about it a lot more in a hot minute, but when you look at that Hell in a Cell card, it is very predictable, extremely predictable. If there was ever a time to hook up with FanDuel and all those other freaking sites and you're trying to make a quick couple of dollars, this is that time to go on ahead and freaking do it. If you're lucky, wow, you won a whopping $5. All right. I mean, this is seriously, it's a very predictable card, which brings to question, okay, so, it's a very predictable card. Is it possible that WWE may pull some swerves? Is it possible? We'll talk a lot more about it, but you know what? The Rey Mysterio Roman Reigns main event match, good main event match. It really was a good main event match, but it didn't quite have that main event feel. I know a lot of people weren't really fond of the fact that there were commercial breaks that kept spamming that main event match. For me personally, I actually was okay. With it, because not for nothing, because I still was in the Thunderdome right on up with me, and I think that's one of the reasons why I keep getting invited back to the Thunderdome. And as far as where I'm placed and all that, I think whoever the people in charge of it is, I think they're kind of seeing that, okay, no, he's steady, he's pretty much there from beginning to end. Because when you're in the Thunderdome, just to go back one more time, they tell you that they can replace you at any time because there's other people that's trying to get in the Thunderdome and all that. So that does not intimidate me whatsoever. Each time I've gone into the Thunderdome, I've gone in there knowing, okay, I'm a virtual fan. I gotta be energetic. I gotta give off that impression for those watching at home, try to make them get into the vibe, get into the spirit and all of that. So, but I remember we actually, during that SmackDown, we actually got bonus footage. And in particular, I remember we got bonus footage of the Roman Reigns Rey Mysterio match. So when it went on a commercial break on Fox, they actually, it was a black screen for us for like about maybe 10 seconds. And we got told in our ears, hey guys, exclusively for you, the Thunderdome, we're coming back. We got bonus match content and commentating. And so Corey Graves, not Corey Graves, Michael Cole and Pat McAfee, they were continuing on. They were commentating everything just for us in the Thunderdome. And if you've been to enough Thunderdomes, you guys know that that's a norm where you get bonus content and all that. So, but I could definitely understand for those that didn't do the Thunderdome and maybe felt, okay, this is kind of spammed out a little too much. I can totally see that. But for me personally, the match was good for what it was worth, despite the commercial breaks. Man, you just knew that they were going to get some type of a sweet spot in there where Roman Reigns was going to just lunge the hell out of freaking Rey Mysterio. He was just going to dart the shit out of him like Kevin Nash did to him back in the WCW days. You just knew it was coming. But to actually see it happen before your very eyes, seeing Roman Reigns just pretty much pick up Ray and just toss him like a fucking bag of trash into the dumpster. And the icing on the cake to have Paul Heyman. I mean, nobody was really showing Paul Heyman the love. I mean, right on fucking cue. When Roman throws Ray, you hear Paul Heyman in the background immediately. Oh my God! Oh my God! And you're just going, oh, Paul, like, shit, I wish they would have had the camera on my reaction, because when that spot actually happened, legit, I wasn't rehearsing. None of the shit that I do in the Thunderdome, none of the shit that I do is overly animated. I'm pretty much the same way if I was actually at a wrestling event. If you've seen me enough, what you see of me on the virtual screen, I'm literally like that when it comes to the live events. I'm that into it and everything. And when he fucking threw Ray, I literally went like this. I mean, I felt my eyeballs just coming out of my sight, and I'm going, oh my God, that looked pretty. I'm just going, please let that little dude be okay. Please let that little dude be okay. Seriously. And good match between those two. Great caliber of a match. I can't help but wonder though, going into Sunday's Hell in a Cell, is it possible, because even though this is a pretty predictable card, is it possible maybe Roman, Heyman, maybe they'll make some type of a cameo just to kind of help the pay-per-view out a little bit, kind of give it that nice little bit of a boost? Is it possible? Only time will tell. We'll have to wait and see and everything. I also liked storyline-wise how they built in there that I'm trying to think which Uso was it, because I believe it was, I don't think it was Jey Uso. Jey Uso was the one that got fed up. So now Jimmy is trying to get on the same page with Roman, but Jey was nowhere to be found on this episode, and Roman was not feeling that whatsoever. Roman wanted for Jimmy to go find his brother, because he told him straight up, he said, look, this works when we're all on the same page, when we're all working as a cohesive unit, when we're working as a family, when we're working as an enterprise. That's really how this works. That's how we're able to function at our strongest. I need you to go find your brother. I will take care of this. Meaning the stuff going on there with Ray, because Jimmy said to him, hey, I got your back tonight. I don't know what's going on with my brother, but this main event match you got tonight, I got your back. Roman wasn't having any of that. He's like, yeah, I got this. I'm good. So it was pretty good. It was pretty good. You know, the Bianca Belair promo that she cut on Bailey, I like that. That was a pretty strong promo from Bianca. I gotta tell you guys, I'm a big Bianca Belair fan. I'm just not sure how much more longevity Bianca has with this current run as a babyface. I'm very, very concerned about it, because anybody that has watched her career in NXT would definitely make a really good argument. Now, you know what, man? She's better as a heel. You know, why do we have her? Why do we have her? Wait a minute. Breaking news. Breaking news. Breaking news. Hang on a second here. This is very important. This is breaking news. Hang on. I just got a reply. Hang on a second. I think we might be able to break some news here on the show. Let me see here. This is awesome. No bullshit. Hang on. I see him typing. So let me tell you guys what's going on right now. I got a big ass piece of news that I'm going to be able to share with you guys right now. Hang on a second. Hang on guys. Okay. This is important. I'm going to be silent for a couple of seconds. Give me a second here. Only thing I do now is submit how many. Hang on. Give me a second, guys. Sorry about that. This is very important. Give me a second. It, smile. Okay. All right. I thought I was going to be able to break the news. Okay, so this is some pretty big news. I really want to tell you guys right now about this news, because I'm sure it would put a really big smile on you all's faces. I sadly cannot just yet. I totally get, because I just got a reply. I totally get where he's coming from. So I gotta tease you guys just like that. But I promise you guys, if this all works out the way that I'm thinking it's gonna work out, you guys are gonna fucking love it. I fucking promise you. It's big. And normally when I say shit like that, you know, you've been checking me out for a long time. Normally if I tell you, hey man, this is popping, this is pretty big, this is pretty, you know, if I usually tell you guys, I'm speaking the gospel. So I have been okay, I'm trying to figure out how to word this just right without revealing my hand. Okay, so there's a lot of parts that's moving and a lot of people that are all intertwined to this really big piece of news. And in order for this to really be a success, everything has to be in synchronicity. And you know, we're almost there. We're missing one piece. So until we get that one piece, I can't make the announcement. So I want to tell you guys so fucking bad, because it all began yesterday, Friday. I get the news, and I'm on cloud fucking nine. I actually hit up the wifey and I say, hun, I was like, hey, when you get home from work, let's grab a bite to eat. We got some celebrating to do. I got some big news I want to share with you. And normally she knows that when it comes to some news like that, it's either three things, right? And she was right. When I finally told her the news, she was like, yeah, I figured that's exactly what it was. So yeah, but there's a lot of parts, there's a lot of moving parts to this story. And now at this point there's only one piece that we're missing. And I think I know exactly what's going on in regards to that one piece. So yeah. But anyway, what were we talking about before? We were talking about I'm so fucking excited. You guys have no idea. I want to tell you guys so fucking bad. Hey, we got a super chat. I'll get to you the super chat in a hot second. But let me finish that train of thought first. And then I promise I'll get to the super chat and see what you guys are saying in the chat. We were talking about Bianca Belair. Yeah, for me, Bianca Belair, she was really, really good there in NXT. And I was really, really feeling everything that she was doing down there. I mean, she was putting, my opinion, some of her best work that we've seen of her in her career under the WWE umbrella. I felt she was doing a superb job down there. And it just felt as though when it came to her being on the main roster, everything it was almost like one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Quantum Leap. Every single time Dr. Sam Beckett, he finds out, okay, why am I here? What do I need to do? Okay, all right, okay, cool. Just when he starts finding a groove, you start to see those reminiscence of what makes Sam Beckett so fucking cool. How it was, he actually was the guy that was behind the whole Quantum Leap project and all that. He fucking leaps. And then his memory is pretty much Swiss cheese and he's pretty much starting from scratch. When I look at Bianca Belair and some of these other people that have had the call-ups from NXT and now they're on Raw or SmackDown, now it's a case where they've pretty much leaped. They've done the quantum leap. And now everything from the creative booking standpoint is just Swiss cheese. It's just, okay, we're pretty much just gonna deconstruct it. And we're just going to try to rebuild it up to our fine tuning, to our liking. And that's pretty much how it's been. So to see Bianca Belair, I mean, look, don't get me wrong. I think a combination of things. I think with the right opponents, with the right type of story arc, Bianca Belair would be a phenomenal babyface champion. Babyface superstar, period. Without a doubt, she's got the personality, no doubt about that. I mean, oozing personality. That girl, fucking fire. She's very beautiful. I mean, I don't think anybody can deny that. I don't care what your fucking preference is as far as women, black, white, Puerto Rican. I don't care what your preference is. I mean, you can't help but definitely admit, yeah, she's a very beautiful, gorgeous woman. So, and then when you think about just the demographics too. Okay, we can hit the older women, we can hit the teenage girls, we can hit the young girls, we can hit the minorities. When you just think about all of those demographics that can be checked, you can't just check all of those demographics with just here's a body. No, it's got to be the right type of person that, and she's definitely one of those. I mean, because when you really stop and think about it, she's in a really good position as far as a black female wrestler. You could definitely look at what she's been doing thus far in her career. And if you want to maybe just look at the current trajectory, and if you maybe want to just fast forward, say 10, 15 years, if she continues the way that she's going right now, I think you could definitely put her in the same conversations with Jazz, with the Southern Belle, Miss Jacqueline. You could definitely put her in those conversations with, before she started fucking up big time. Alicia Fox was actually doing, before those demons got the best of her, she actually was doing pretty damn good. You could definitely put her up there with a. You could definitely put her up there with a Awesome Khan. She's doing pretty good. She's off to a good start. Just, you gotta have her with the right opponents and the right type of story arc. The story arc that's been going on with her and Bayley so far, not one of the brightest, and I think it's really a disservice, particularly to Bayley. I really do. Because when you really stop and think about it, look at how pretty much things came about with this feud. Really. Pretty much a hair pull, series of laughs, little verbal put downs, and boom, there's your feud. Really, when you really get down to the heart of the matter, that's pretty much the Bianca Bayley feud in a nutshell. Nothing really juicy, nothing really salacious, nothing really. You feel where I'm coming from? What would have made a lot more sense for me personally? Now, granted, I have missed a good series of SmackDown, right? But let me say this without being too much more long-winded about this particular part. But I just want to make a very valid point here. A very important point. For me personally, going back, I wish that Bayley would have just beat the living fuck out of Bianca Belair when Bianca was doing her after WrestleMania post-celebration. I wish it just would have went down like that. Okay, she beat Sasha Banks, got the title and everything. Okay, cool. But you know what? Bayley is back. Bayley is back with a vengeance. Putting this young little rookie on the spot. You may have beaten Sasha Banks and all that to become the new SmackDown Women's Champion, but you know why you were able to beat Sasha Banks for that SmackDown Women's Championship? You were able to beat her because she's too freaking weak. She got so caught up in her emotions. She got so caught up on the magical moment that you guys were having at WrestleMania. First two black females. First this, first that. That's what makes me more of the superior athlete and champion than Sasha Banks is. And I'm going to prove that. If you would have went more in that direction with Bayley, instead of these lame ass knock ding dong fucking Susie Q hosey ding dong majiggas, I think it would have flowed better. I think people would have found this feud to be more enjoyable. But where we're at right now, we got to deal with it as it is. But promo wise, just looking at overall the promos that Bianca Belair has put out there since she's been part of the main roster, this was definitely one of her most solid moments so far. So I really liked how she had handled that and everything. I liked the little beatdown that the girls did. All of that was pretty good. Good shit. I'm doing pretty good so far. I'm just remembering stuff off the top of my head in regards to SmackDown. I think it really had helped that I was doing the Thunderdome and everything was just playing out before my very eyes. One other thing that really caught my interest, and don't worry, this isn't a full-blown SmackDown review. I'm just giving you guys just bullet points of stuff that just came to my mind as I was watching it that I wanted to relay here. I hadn't watched SmackDown on a regular basis. Usually I'll see the highlights on YouTube or whatever. Otis. Man, what happened to my boy Otis? Alright, so he's clean shaven now. His character is a complete 180. I'm not really sure how to feel about that, y'all. I'm really not, because it's kind of one of those. It's gonna take me a while to get used to his new look, because he's got a weird. He's got a weird Jim Belushi, Chris Farley I'm Chris Hansen, won't you have a seat vibe. You know, he looks like a big old, you know, he just reminds you of that big old bully that you'd come across in school. Hey man, give me your lunch money. Beat you up. You know, he's got that kind of vibe to him now and everything. And for me, I just can't help but look at this new current gimmick and say, shit, what happened to the go lucky, slapping my belly, doing the caterpillar, playing up to the crowd? Oh yeah! You know, what all that was clicking, all that was working, and I'm not feeling it so far. I'm not. I think I would probably be into this a lot more if it would have been a case where Otis was off TV for a series of several weeks. You know, if you can afford it, and you can because you're in the Thunderdome and all that after all. If it would have been a case where Otis was off. Now look, again, full disclosure. Again, I just said, haven't been watching SmackDown on a regular basis. So if he was off TV for about 2, almost 3 months, apologies in advance. But I just kind of get this feeling that wasn't the case, just kind of based on some of the reactions I've been seeing so far and trying to get caught up to speed on Otis and everything. I would have had him off TV for, you know, about 2 months at least. I mean, he ain't no Undertaker or anything like that. You know, I'm not throwing shade at the man. I'm just saying, you ain't got to have him off TV for 3-4 months. Just put him off TV for about 2 months. You know, then you want to have him come back with this whole new look and everything. Okay, all right, cool. I'm down with that. But I missed, and I hope that when WWE gets ready to go back on the road, because honestly, just 2 cents from a distance, I don't feel that this current incarnation of Otis is going to go anywhere. I promise you that. I promise you that if WWE continues on this path with Otis and they think this is going to just work well in front of live fans, it's not. He's going to get cricket reactions. I'm telling you that right now. So we'll see what happens with that. But that for me was just, you know. Hey, good ass match though that he had with Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits. That was actually pretty damn good. I did enjoy that. I will say that. I did enjoy that. Not to sound as if I was crapping, because I really wasn't. Just a constructive point of observation. See, what was another joint that kind of came into my head with SmackDown? Trying to think. There was something else that kind of clicked in my head that I thought was of interest. It'll come to me in a little bit. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat so far. Get into some super chats here. See. All right, so we're still caught up, actually. I'm not missing anything? Okay, good. Yeah, we are live, by the way, guys. So if you all want to post a little chat, feel free to do so. Definitely, man. I mean, come on, your man been gone for 2 weeks. We've only done 2 shows so far. This is our 3rd show back. So definitely keep it coming, man. And by the way, making its return this weekend on our Hell in a Cell post show, I'm bringing back our phone line. And true story, I said it on the last show, so you guys got to forgive me if this sounds a little redundant, but I got to assume not everybody is checking out every single show that I put out. So in case you missed it, you know, when we first began podcasting back in 2011, for the longest time, we had a show call in number, and we had listeners that would call in. They would sound off about some of the stuff that was going on. I used to love doing the call-ins, particularly when it came to the pay-per-views and all of that. One of the reasons we had stopped it was because, you know, really was getting some weird calls. That was kicking in. And some of it was sexually explicit that would be towards our guests and all that. I wasn't really feeling that. And then the other, out of 100%, I would say 90% of it was really that. Was really that. Getting those crank calls. It was shit like that. And then 10% was maybe the whole, actually no, I would say 5%, because we got to split up that last 10%. out of that remaining 10 there, we would have the same people that would keep calling. And so sadly, it got to a point where other listeners, new listeners particularly, that would call in, they would go, well, I'm going to get off the phone now because I want to hear what blah, blah, blah got to say. And it's kind of like, wait a minute now, this is my show. It's like, it was kind of, I wasn't saying that out of jealousy or anything. It's like, wait a minute, what? So it's kind of like, and then the other 5%, the remaining 5%, one man was only able to do but so much, which I didn't mind because back then I would get help from the missus. But the other thing was it was so expensive because we had the original incarnation of the RCWR show. It was just strictly, it was a call-in show. I would literally, through the Blog Talk Radio days, I basically was hosting a show pretty much with a phone. And that's pretty much how I was doing everything. So yeah, for the longest time, that's, and we had that going for a couple of years. And then we pretty much just said, okay, you know what, fuck this. So yeah, we're going to have the phone line come back now. The phone number, it's already set, ready to go and everything. So what I figure we do is as soon as the pay-per-view is over, pretty much jump right into it. Last thing I want to do is wing out talking about the pay-per-view. So I think what I'll probably do is maybe first 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, try to get through at least the first half of the card. And I think we're going to be able to do that rather quickly because there's only at this point, I think last I heard, 6 matches. I'll look at the card again when we get ready to offer predictions. But we should be able to go boom, 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 just like that. Now, what I will say to you guys, those of you that are going to be interested in calling into the show, pieces of advice. And I've been very consistent with this, even when we were doing the old days of bringing in calls. If you're going to call in, think very carefully about what you want to say. Keep it short. Keep it to the point. Don't be nervous. Really think out what you want to say. Most importantly, have fun. Enjoy yourself. No reason to be nervous and super stuttering and all of that, right? Just remember all of those things and we're going to have ourselves a really good time. So, super chat, Gino, appreciate that. $20 super chat. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Haven't seen you in a good minute. Hope you're doing okay. Hope you and your family's doing all right. And if you're doing anything for Father's Day, hope you have a good one. I'm definitely going to be doing something for Father's Day. I'm supposed to be going out for breakfast, or maybe it's going to be brunch with the missus and her dad. So I'm looking forward to that. It reminds me, I actually got to finish writing a little something in the card that I got for him. I got him a funny ass card too. It's a card. I can't remember what the front of it says. I think it says something along the lines of, hey, today is your day. You get to sit around and do what you do best. And on the card, it's a 3-dimensional pop-up card, and it's a toilet. And as you pretty much go to open it, the toilet flushes. It makes this cool ass noise, all that cool shit. I lost my shit, no pun intended, when I saw this card at the store. I thought it was the funniest freaking thing that I saw. And I said, yeah, that definitely is the winner. I'm getting that for him. So, yeah, we're going to take him out to a nice little brunch. So that's going to be awesome. So, I'm looking forward to that. I legit am looking forward to that. He was a sweetheart, man. I mean, he came to the wedding. Money for him was really, really tight. And he actually had to, ask for a few favors, not from us, but, because that was the last thing he wanted to do was impose. But, he had to pull a couple of favors and everything from some folks and to be able to come to our wedding and everything. But I tell you what, man, he really surprised the hell out of me and the missus because Not only did he show up in style, I mean, he looked sharp. Not only did he show up in style, but he shaved. That was the other cool part. He shaved. Because if you remember freaking was it Jumanji? Where Robin Williams had the long ass thick beard and the hair. What year is it? For the longest time he was pushing this big old Santa Claus beard, and it wasn't trimmed or anything. Yellowish in some parts. You're like, dude, what the fuck is going on with that beard? That beard is weird. Like, you need a trim. You need just for men. Look, I'm not talking because I've been on this show enough times. My beard over the years, it's definitely gotten a little bit all over the place and everything. So, but it wasn't as bad as, it's one thing if you're trying to go for the Braun Strowman beard and, you're trimming, you're evening it up, you got the linings going on and, you got that nice good trim, nice dimensional shape, all that. Man, his shit was just, I mean, his is all over the place. Sorry, Pops, I'm not insulting you, so don't take it personal. But he cut off the whole beard. I barely recognized him. So funny. I remember being in the lobby waiting on him because I had to go to his hotel to get dressed, and me and him were going to ride together to the wedding site. And yeah, I'm in the lobby and I'm like, where is this guy? And then elevator door opens and I'm like, hey, who's that guy? That guy looks important. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, it's Pops. And I was like, yeah, cool. I'm trying to think if anything else had happened from SmackDown that was noteworthy I can talk about, because I'm not trying to do the full rundown. I think for the most part, there is one other thing I want to talk about that had went down on SmackDown. Two other points of interest. One of them, look, the Battle of the Crowns, Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Baron Corbin. Okay match. But, I didn't particularly care for this. I really didn't. If this is supposed to be some type of a prelude to King of the Ring, I would rather just give me the King of the Ring. Just give me that. I'm okay with that. Just give me King of the Ring. But that whole little silly shit that they were doing with the Battle of the Crown, I didn't care for that, really. I will say this. It was the best of the encounter that I've seen of the guys off and on these past couple of weeks and everything. But if you're like me, you're kind of going, man, this match went a little bit way too long. And then two, can we just be done with this already? Right? I mean, we just need to be done with this already. I just would have been all right with that. See, something had involved Kevin Owens. Now that I did enjoy. Apollo Crews, Commander Aziz making his in-ring debut, tag team match against Big E, Kevin Owens. Apollo Crews, man, he continues to be, aside from Roman Reigns, he continues to be also one of the main highlights and focal points for Raw. He's really been tearing it up. There's a character, just look at the whole gimmick. Major thumbs up. I'm feeling what he's been doing. Aziz did pretty good in his in-ring debut. Nothing really flashy. Nothing really, I mean, as far as a big guy, what you would expect. Wasn't disappointed. Now, if I were to compare him to, what's our boy's name? Omaz? I kind of feel as though Aziz has a little bit more flexibility in the ring. Whereas Omaz wrestles as if he's got cinder blocks for shoes. Watch his foot movement next time and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. His footwork, pacing, and all that is total shits. It really is. Everything else, it's kind of, but his footwork is woof. Aziz seems to have a little bit more flexibility. About maybe 2 tiers better than Omaz. But yeah, I liked it. It was good, decent start. Team of, trying to think who had won. Team of sorry about that. Team of Aziz and Cruz. They picked up the dub. Match went about 10 minutes. This was pretty much just all about highlighting Aziz, what he was able to do. He did come off like a fucking juggernaut. I will say that. He did come off like a monster and everything, way he ran over the guys. And I did enjoy that. They set it up pretty good. Sami Zayn coming out there too during color commentating, still sticking it to Kevin Owens. Now we kind of have that insertion of Owens into the whole mix. Not Owens, but Sami Zayn in that whole mix and everything. So Kevin Owens going backstage. I mean, that was a little bit too over dramatic for me. I want Sammy. And it's, all I had in my mind at that point, I hope you don't mind. Let me clear my throat. That's all I had going on in my head, man. Because I'm just like, brother, go chill. So, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Hell in a Cell. I don't think that's going to be as clear cut as I have a strong feeling. Cruz, Aziz, they're going to do some type of a solid there for Sami Zayn. I do. I legitimately do. So we'll see how that match plays out. Other than that, though, that really was it as far as SmackDown. If there's something else in particular you want me to maybe spend a couple of minutes talking about, that in a nutshell, that pretty much is it for me. So, okay, SmackDown. For a guy that hasn't been watching SmackDown on a regular basis, wasn't too shabby. Now, AEW, on the other hand, Dynamite. So they open things up with their MMA match. Jake Hager taking on Warlow. MMA rules. They had the whole octagon ring, everything. Presentation. Okay, this is what you're selling to me? All right, I'm down with that. We know Jake Hager has a respectable MMA career. We've seen enough footage of him out there. Dude can fucking brawl. We know that Warlow had for many years, I don't know if he's still current on it, but for many, many years, boxing, jiu-jitsu, he is respectfully trained in those areas. So you're going, okay, so this should be a pretty damn good fight. Okay, all right, let's go there. For me personally, I really, really wish that, and when I first heard about this, no bullshit, guys, I thought that was going to be the main event for Dynamite. I thought everything was going to build up to that fight. So to actually have that fight kick off Dynamite, I just couldn't help but go, okay, so if we're going to open up with this, then what exactly is going to be the big main event? How exactly are you trying to send folks home? And to hear that basically, and we would see later on, that the main event match was going to consist of freaking Young Bucks. What was that main event? Young Bucks. Oh God, I'm trying to picture all the jabronis that was in there. It'll come to me in a hot second. It's like, wait, that's our main event? Man, I really, really wanted to get into this MMA fight. I wanted to get into it so fucking badly. Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being shit, 10 being awesome sauce. I gotta give it a 6 out of 10. I got to give it a 6 out of 10. And for me, one of the things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way about this fight and all that was the fact that, one, the placement of it. No. Build up to this fight. You're doing something that is completely out of the normal. You're doing something that so far in AEW Dynamite television has never been done before. This is a one of its kind type of things. No, you need to freaking build this up properly. Build up the anticipation. Build up the suspense. You're luring in, you're luring in fans that are interested in this bout, interested in this fight. You pretty much want to get them in with some preliminary yakety yak. You want to lure them in with, maybe MMA analysts, boxing analysts talking about, well, hey, I feel that this person is going to win because, well, no, this person is going to win because, do your tell of the tapes and all that. Do a nice little background package on Hager. Do a nice little background package on Warlow. You want to be building it up. You guys feel where I'm coming from? You all that have made your rounds checking out MMA, boxing, you love the Rocky franchise. You know exactly how this should be playing out. So, I looked at this no different than, would you like a really nice, good cheeseburger? Yeah. And it's pretty much, bun, crappy ass ground beef. There's your burger. Enjoy. It's like, wait a minute. Where's this? Where's that? Where's all these other layers that overall will make that burger taste pretty damn good? There's a lot that was lacking going into that MMA fight. But the placement of it, number one, totally blew the fuck out of me. Number two, some of the stuff I was seeing in that fight, I'm going, wait a minute. These two motherfuckers are real athletes. These guys can legitimately hurt the fuck out of somebody. Look, we don't need to see these guys, break each other's arms or some stupid shit like that. We don't need to see no freakish shit like that. But man, can we at least, really go there? Can we at least get a bloody nose? Can we get a messed up eye? Can we at least go there? And my whole thing was, now see, that's a good idea, right? What I just put out there, that's a pretty good idea. Especially if you're Tony Khan and you basically, hey, look, guys, let's have a real fucking fight out there. Look, y'all gonna get the same amount of money. All right, you're gonna get $1 million or 500,000. You're gonna get an extra. All right, can we both agree? Can we make this look real fucking good? Yeah, okay, all right, let's go have a good show then. Last thing you want to do is fucking injure a person, right? But see, here's the other thing that you got to be thinking about. Now, see, I don't keep up with MMA and boxing as much as some of you guys do, so I'm a little bit lost right here. If anybody wants to enlighten me in the audience, feel free to go ahead. But I can't help but wonder, when is the very next time Jake Hager is legitimately supposed to be having an MMA fight? Because if he's scheduled for something within a couple of weeks, within a couple of months or whatever, then to that, that's kind of ultimately why you got what you got on Dynamite this week. But again, all about the placement, all about how you're building it up, the anticipation, all of that good shit. And I'm looking at his boxing record right now, and apparently the last time he fought was at Bellator 250. He fought October 2020. He won the bout in a split decision. He faced Brandon Colton. So he hasn't fought since October 29th of 2020. So unless something else was getting ready to pop up, if something wasn't about to pop up, okay, can we go there? Again, you ain't got to break a limb, but bloody a nose. swollen an eye, put some knots on the forehead. I was looking for shit like that. And then, Hager went in there and he looked like a fucking beast. He was selling his shit. Everything was good. Warlow, on the other hand, Warlow really came off to me as if he was trying to do his very best to make sure his punches did not connect on Hager. I remember particularly there was one spot where there was a takedown that went down. A takedown that went down. Say that 10 times fast. I remember there was a takedown that Warlow did to Hager. Okay, classic MMA style. Okay, now you're on top of your opponent. Now it's time to just wham, go to the face. Just wham, 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 wham. Put some knots on that face. You could see Warlow clear as day. Look, I won't put it all on him. I got to also put it on the camera crew and the position that they were in and everything. We want to make sure we're doing a better job giving off the illusion this is a real fight. But you can see clear as day, Warlow is just, okay, this is the face. Again, sorry for you guys that can only do the audio. Again, check out the webcast. So this is Jake Hager's face. This is Warlow's fist. And clear as day, Warlow is just going, not right. And pretty much Hager is reacting, that way. No, we've got fucking Warlow just, and it's clear as day that he's purposely not trying to hit fucking Hager. And I'm saying to myself, really, guys? Really? We're going to go in this direction? Like, really? So, all of that, all those elements, it just, it was buzzkill for me. It was just total fucking buzzkill for me. So, I'm staying firm at a 6 out of 10. I'm staying firm at a 6 out of 10. Hey, Nate. Nate saying, hey, Lee. Hey, Nate. So, yeah, 6 out of 10 for me. That's where I stand on that one. See, what else had happened on Dynamite that was kind of noteworthy, I felt. I got to actually look at the card for this one because I found myself, when I did sit down to watch it, I found myself just fast forwarding a lot of this show. I got to tell you guys, and anybody that truly, see, nobody's most likely going to give it to you the way I'm giving it to you as far as honest critique of that so-called MMA fight. You're probably going to see a lot of people, I wouldn't be surprised, oh, glorious, awesome, superb, badass, righteous. Now, who says righteous in 2021? But you get the point that I'm making. Whereas those that actually follow boxing, follow MMA, not a fanatic, but know enough to know, they're going to be like, what the fuck is this shit? What the fuck was this? So anybody that tries to put this fucking over, seriously, that's all I got to say. That's all I have to say. All right, next up, Men of the Year. That consists of Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page. They took on Darby Allin. This was a 2-on-1 handicap match, so no Sting. The one time I'm looking for Sting, I guess Sting got told he could chill at home for the weekend. He wasn't needed since it's Father's Day and all. Okay, all right, it is what it is. Of course, Scorpio Sky, Ethan Page picking up the dub. I did like the spot that they did there with the zip tie. Darby Allin using the zip tie. I believe he used the zip tie was it on Scorpio Sky? I can't quite remember who he used the zip tie on, but that was a nice little spot that they had put in there and everything, but actually, wait a minute. Actually, no. Yeah, I'm remembering it right. Orange Cassidy taking on Cesar Bononi. Boy. This was just absolutely the drizzles. Seriously. The absolute drizzles. I got nothing else to say about that. That was just the absolute drizzles. Let's see. Brock Anderson, Cody Rhodes teaming up to take on Aaron Solau, QT Marshall. The debut of Brock Anderson. Look, Brock Anderson damn sure looks a lot like his dad. I'll give him that. That lower half of his body, man, shades of Double A. Shades of Double A. I'm telling you, man, if Brock is really serious about this whole wrestling, man, he puts on a little bit of bulk. Not saying he's got to go all ripped and, he ain't got to go all Brian Cage, but if he can somehow have that upper portion complement the lower portion of his body more, little bursts here and there. And I think for those of you that saw Dynamite, you would definitely agree. There were little bursts of, little Double A. Yeah, but, putting that to the side, that was rough. That was rough. You can't help but wonder if it was WWE, if it was Impact, if it was Ring of Honor, if it was New Japan. You can't help but wonder, would Brock Anderson, and this is not throwing shade at Brock Anderson, but it's a serious question to ask, would he have gotten an opportunity? Because you just look at him and you just go, yeah. Right? So, I don't know about that one. Kind of a tricky situation, because physique wise, and look, majority of us as wrestling fans, we're not one to talk about somebody's physique and everything. We're not. When it's all said and done, people of all different shapes, sizes, we've seen it all in the world of pro wrestling. But this is a particular case right here where you look at Brock Anderson and you just go, okay, you come off very lacking in personality. Some could kind of make the argument, well, Arn kind of didn't have personality either, Lee. She kind of begged to differ a little bit. I mean, yeah, he might have not been, he might have not been like that, but, he had his own kind of, especially when he got in that ring, man. You knew what you was getting when Double A was in the ring. But no physique to speak of. I mean, man, can you put a brother in any more generic trunks than he was in on Friday? I mean, man, I felt like what I was watching was a creator wrestler from one of them video games. That's honestly how I felt. I really hope this was a one-off thing. I really do. I hope that we're not going to be seeing him in the ring again. I hope that the next time he decides he wants to get back into the ring, he focuses more on upper body training and, really, really work on that. Really, if you didn't watch Dynamite, go out of your way. You really owe it to yourselves to actually pull up the photo of Brock Anderson. And you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Let's see. Julie Hart taking on Penelope Ford. Brutal match. Not being a dick. This was a brutal match. Hey, I appreciate them trying to figure out a way to bring Penelope Ford back on to the show and everything, though. I appreciate that. Backstage segment, Vicky Guerrero had interrupted Britt Baker and Reba to put over her girl, Nyla Rose, wanting to see Nyla Rose get a title shot against Britt Baker. So it's on. It's going to be next week. Jay Cargill had cut a promo with her advocate, Mark Sterling. Apparently they got some type of a deal with a hotel in Toronto, so her opponents will have a place to recover. I love that. I love that. So she pretty much was just bragging on about her winning streak and all that, talking about how she's the baddest bitch. I thought the baddest bitch was Trina. A little rap reference for you guys. Main event match. Matt Jackson, Good Brothers taking on Frankie Kazarian, Eddie Kingston, Pentel Zero Miedo. Jackson, Good Brothers going over. These Bucks matches, man, they're getting rougher and rougher by the week. I just, it's starting to get to a point where it's becoming unbearable to watch. You know, it used to be laughable. You know, it used to be comical. Now it's just pain. You know, remember, for the longest time, I used to say you just never know which Bucks are you going to get. Are you going to get the Bucks that's going to go into the ring? They're trying to tell a really fun story, you know, with the match that they're having, and they're going to tell that story eloquently, elaborately in the ring. Or are we going to get the type of Bucks that, okay, we're just going to do all our signature hits, all our favorite. Now we've just gotten to this point where all they can basically do is play up to the camera, pretty much be all over the place in their match. And what do I mean by all over the place in the match? Constant moving, like that, like there's no time to, okay, we gotta sell this. This is important. We need to sell this. Whether they're at the receiving end of it or their opponent is at the receiving end, you know, there's never that, okay, now breathe. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. I don't like what's going on with what I've been seeing as of late. And then the continuance of the freaking spray, can of hair spray, whatever the fuck that's being used. Okay, we've got enough footage by now, weeks worth. We know what's coming. Motherfuckers don't have this fucking in the playbook yet. Usually you watch week 1 of NFL action and, oh man, that was a really good play. Next thing you know, you see a couple of them football teams so inspired. Yeah, we got to use that in our playbook. Very next week, you see motherfuckers start running with that. You know, they know that move. Or, oh, hey, look at what this team did against. Okay, and we're playing them this Thursday? Yeah, okay, well, we got to make sure we have a nice counter for that. Yeah, they get ready to do it in that Thursday game. That team's already scouted it. They got it on point. So rough show. Out of the two, it wasn't the better. Between it and SmackDown, this was pretty rough. This was pretty rough. This felt very insignificant. Very insignificant whatsoever. I like how the show kind of abruptly ended too, by the way. I mean, you got your finish and everything, but it kind of felt like they had to rush through a bunch of shit. You know, I don't know. It just kind of feels to me as if these past couple of weeks, AEW has just pretty much been riding the storm of, okay, we're on these Friday slots. And it's kind of hard for us to, you know, and it just seems like the more disappointing the numbers were coming in for some of these Friday shows, the more that they just said, well, if we can, let's just kind of do the minimum until we can kind of get ourselves back to our regular permanent slot. Yeah, and now they're being bounced around again. You think they're going to be coming on next Friday? Now they're coming on next Saturday. Next Saturday they're going to be coming on. And then after that, when you go to June 30th is actually when they will be back on their Wednesday time slot. And then don't forget, we got Rampage. Rampage is going to be happening soon. There was a couple of promos they had showed during Dynamite this week. And the premiere of AEW Rampage is going to be going down Friday, August 13th. Again, Friday, August 13th. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, so that pretty much was it. So you guys doing all right? If y'all been enjoying the show so far, please do me a huge favor. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like. You do anything, hit that like button. You know, when you do it, for one thing, it's free. You also let the YouTube algorithm team know, hey, this was pretty pretty solid. Helps them push out the content more to people to check out. So appreciate that in advance. If you do want to subscribe, you feel like subscribing, do feel free to subscribe as well. All right, so can we talk a little NBA real quick, and then we'll talk a little bit more wrestling. We'll get into Hell in a Cell and all that, but let's talk some NBA real quick here. A lot of shit been going on NBA wise. I mean, we got Kyrie Irving, of course. He's going to be out of Game 7 tonight against the Bucks. I mean, that's very unfortunate, because he's got that ankle sprain. Look, if you ask me straight up, is it possible we might see Kyrie return if the Nets can make it to the NBA Finals? Because NBA Finals, that's pretty much not really going to start until maybe late June, July. No, actually, no, at this point, like July, maybe like the first week of July. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think at this point, you need to just have him on ice, let him recuperate. Look, not for nothing, but when Kyrie Irving was playing with the San Antonio Spurs, he stayed having some type of an injury. If it wasn't a shoulder, it was elbow. If it wasn't, ankle, or it was a knee. He's always having something going on with him. So the timing of this, although it sucks, it's also landing kind of right as expected if you really kind of take a step back and think about it. So hopefully they go on ahead no matter what happens going forward. Assuming that the Nets are able to make it past the Bucks, they go deeper into the playoffs. I say you go on ahead and just let him chill for the rest of the season. Just put him on. What is it? IA? No. They just put him inactive. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I was trying to think of the proper term that they use, but he's inactive. But then you look at what's been going on with some of these coaches that are now out of jobs. And I mean, it's freaking crazy, man. I mean, where do you even start as far as the NBA coaches? I mean, all right, so look, let's look at Boston Celtics here, all right? I mean, if you're a coach and you're going, man, what a great time to be landing with a really cool team. Boston Celtics, no doubt, is pretty good, but you also got to look at Dallas Mavericks. You also got to look at the Portland Trail Blazers. You got Luka Doncic, Damian Lillard. But you look at Boston there, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. That's a damn good 1-2 punch combination right there, man. A damn good 1-2 punch combination. Look at that caliber of talent, the ages that you got going on there. Celtics got that win now team mindset that's going on too. That would be pretty good for a good landing spot there. That would be pretty damn good for a coach there. But then you look at that, you look at Dallas Mavericks. Again, if you're a coach, okay, you got to coach Luka Doncic. And Luka Doncic, as we all have kind of been able to learn these past couple of seasons, he can be a little bit of a drama queen behind the scenes and all that. So that's one hell of a personality that you got to try to do your best and make sure that you're keeping him satisfied and all that, because he kind of has more stroke than the head coach. I mean, look at that. Look at Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle was with the Dallas Mavericks for the longest time. And then just out of the clear blue this week, Rick Carlisle decides, okay, I'm done. He had 2 years left remaining on his contract, and he decides, oh, no, I'm done. And when you hear about it, he lets it be known. I decided to walk away. This was my decision. So the fact that he's putting it out there, and then even more icing on the cake, the fact that he says, "Oh yeah, I'm very interested in coaching in the NBA." Okay, so damn, let me see if I got this straight, my dude. So not only were you just fed up with everything that was going on there with the Dallas Mavericks, with Luka, and then let's not also forget Mavericks owner Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban, I mean, you think Jerry Jones is something. Mark Cuban is just, I mean, he is, he worse than Diddy. Remember P. Diddy back in the day, all in the videos, all in the songs, all them unnecessary writing credits, all that, that's Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban makes fucking Jerry Jones look like an amateur with the shit that he does. So that's a hell of a 1-2 punch that you got to deal with if you're a coach with Dallas Mavericks. So I just don't know about that. But Rick Carlisle pretty much saying, "Oh yeah, I'm definitely interested in coaching again. This isn't the end for me." Like, okay, so he just don't want to coach in Dallas. I mean, that tells you all that you pretty much need to know right there. That tells you all you need to know right there. But let's not also forget you got fucking Porzingis. I don't like what's going on there with Porzingis. I know a lot of people have given up on him, and it kind of sucks too because the guy's only 25 years old. And that might be hard to believe, but so many people have pretty much just given up on the fucking dude. And of course, you got the Portland Trail Blazers. I don't know, man. That's kind of that's a tricky one right there. Because you look at them and it seems like they got good pieces of talent there. I mean, you got Damian Lillard, you got CJ McCollum, you got Norman Powell. That's if they're able to re-sign him. You got Robert Covington. So, I mean, you got some interesting, little pieces that's there, but they really didn't do that much improvement, I felt, in the last offseason. So, unless you're able to really shake it up, yeah, I think they need a big guy. I think they need a big guy. I think they need some help on rebounds. So that's what I mean when I say they need a big guy. And I think they need a really good facilitator. They need one of those type of guys. They kind of need they need a Robert Horry. You feel where I'm coming from? Robert Horry was a good facilitator, getting people involved. And then when it counted the most and he needed to do his thing, he could definitely do his thing. You feel me? They kind of need one of those. Lillard under contract until 2024. Man, that could be enough of a good lure for a coach. Okay, I get Damian Lillard, I get CJ McCollum, and that might be enough, but you got to do some building. Man. New Orleans Pelicans, look at what happened there with fucking is it Stan Van Gundy? Look at what happened there with Stan Van Gundy. I knew that wasn't going to work from the minute I heard that Stan Van Gundy would be the new coach. I knew because I've been watching the NBA since the 80s. And I always, as far as Stan Van Gundy, he is one of those no nonsense. If I were to describe him, I would describe him as that teacher / professor you couldn't really socialize with. You couldn't really, you couldn't really have that good friendly rapport with them. Maybe you could if you weren't in their class, right? Maybe if you weren't in their class, you can have that rapport with them. But so as long as you are in their class and that's your instructor, he is that no nonsense, very laser sharp focus, very fucking serious. You make a mistake, he's pretty much on top of you and he's kind of on top of you in a nagging, kind of whining, type of fashion. That's how he's always came off to me. So to hear that a 61-year-old Stan Van Gundy became the coach of the Pelicans, I just couldn't help but say to myself, and wait a minute here, this guy had, pretty much last coached the team. I mean, look at within the last 10, 15 years. So he did Miami Heat, Orlando Magic, Pistons, and then he did Pelicans. So, I mean, for that, and that's just for starters. I mean, some of those, there was assistant coaches and all that as well. But there's enough footage that's out there on Stan Van Gundy. You know what you're going to get. So to hear the fucking Pelicans GM or whatever say that bullshit that he had said about, you go in different directions. But it's like, dude, you had so much footage on Van Gundy. What the fuck? We mean you didn't, right? You feel where I'm coming from? So I mean, that for me, and look, let me tell you something, man. The game has changed. NBA, the game has changed. So Stan Van Gundy and the way he goes about, nah man, that's a thing of the past. That's a thing of the past. These young basketball players that's coming about now, these young athletes, they care about their social media. They care about what people are saying about them. They care about them royalties. They want to know what's going on with those video game opportunities, what's going on with them endorsements, what's going on with them commercials. They are very laid back. Okay? So you think you're going to be able to come in and all of a sudden, like, no. I knew that wasn't going to work from the start. There was part of me that was kind of hoping that if anybody was going to be able to get through to Zion, have him on a strict training regimen, food regimen and all that. Because remember, a couple of times there, we saw Zion get pretty husky and all that. So I felt, as far as a plus, maybe it'd be good for Zion. But as we see how things had played out at the end. And then we got Scott Brooks from the Washington Wizards. Scott Brooks no longer with the Wizards. They couldn't agree on an extension. So that's pretty much, Scott Brooks is now done. Becky Harmon is said to be very, very like high on the list there as far as, okay, she could be definitely landing a job somewhere in the off season. And then rounding off the list, of course, you got the Orlando Magic, you got the Pacers. I kind of mentioned the Wizards earlier there. So I mean, there's some good opportunities that's there. If I were to make some bold predictions right now, if I were to make some bold predictions, I'm just kind of looking at the teams that I just talked about right now. Let's see here. I'm really liking Chauncey Billups, and I'm really liking Becky Hammon. Man. I would personally like to see Becky. I personally would love to see Becky land with the Portland Trailblazers. I don't know. There's just something that I feel where she's at this particular point in her career, especially now that she's ready to coach and everything, and then considering what's going on with the Portland Trailblazers, there's just that part of me that feels like it would be a match made in heaven. I just feel as though they both would elevate each other's game and all that. If I'm talking to Becky Hammon, I'm saying that's where you want to try to go. Chauncey Billups, Chauncey Billups. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. Pelicans. I kind of feel like Pelicans is probably where he'll go. Scott Brooks. I could honestly see Scott Brooks landing with Mavericks. Don't ask me why, but I mean, if you were to probe me a little bit more, it kind of feels like to me, you gotta have a coach that's going to be able to pretty much fall in line and not really shake things up, that can coexist with Luka Doncic, but primarily Mark Cuban. And I just kind of feel as though Scott Brooks is probably that yes man. Can still get a little bit of his shit in there, but ultimately is that yes man. I kind of feel like Scott Brooks is maybe Chauncey Billups. Actually, no, we already talked about Chauncey Billups. Rick Carlisle, Stan Van Gundy. One of those two I can actually see landing with the Wizards. Believe it or not. One of those two I could actually see landing with the Wizards. Let me just look at the other teams again. Those are the main names I want you guys to home in on. Out of all the vacancies and just some of those are the ones I'm kind of really homing in on. But we'll see what happens. Like I said, man, this is going to be a very, very interesting NBA offseason with all of these names that's running around. And look, not for nothing, but Stranger Things have fucking happened. So we'll have to wait and see, man. Stranger Things have fucking happened. But Chauncey Billups would be pretty damn good in Washington too. I have to say, he would be pretty damn good. I would not mind him. I think Chauncey Billups would fit that DC culture extremely well. I could see him being very well beloved by DC and everything. Perfect. It'd be fucking perfect. I could actually see it. Yeah. Yeah, I could actually see it. Not to mention, you also got Mike D'Antoni. Don't forget, you still got... Whoa! Sorry, soundbar. Don't forget, though, you got Mike D'Antoni that's still floating around there, too. So, some of those names aren't even in circulation right now. You guys ready to talk Hell in a Cell? Let's go there. Let's talk Hell in a Cell. So we got Hell in a Cell going to be coming up this Sunday. As it stands right now with the current card, we only got 6 matches. We don't even need to be long-winded with this fucking card either, guys. This is how it's going down. Ain't no pre-show matches as of right now. Cesaro taking on Seth Rollins. I wouldn't mind seeing Cesaro pick up the dub here. I actually wouldn't mind seeing that go down. Cesaro. See, here's the thing, though. Okay, so we give Cesaro the dub, but short-term plan-wise, what's the deal? What do we got exactly planned for Cesaro? Is it all about putting him in a position where somehow we circle back to him and Roman Reigns? Is that, because he kind of has this little detour thing that's going on right now. So is that maybe ultimately what we're going to kind of circle back to, or what? What are we doing here? But given everything that's been going on between Cesaro and Rollins so far, going into WrestleMania, posts and all that, I can see Cesaro getting the dub here. Kevin Owens taking on Sami Zayn. This does not look as clear-cut as you would think it is. I'm going to go with Sami Zayn. I just see Aziz, Apollo Crews. I see them in some form making some type of an appearance that will benefit Sami Zayn. Alexa Bliss taking on Shayna Baszler. Don't particularly care for this feud. I've been very vocal about that these past several weeks. But oh yeah, don't forget too, Alexa Bliss got the little voodoo hocus pocus spell there on Reginald. Why we got Reginald involved in is beyond me too. It is really beyond me. Let's hope there's no Reginald appearance this Sunday. I'm going with Alexa Bliss. Bianca Belair taking on Bayley, Hell in a Cell match for the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship. Do not see Bianca Belair relinquishing that title. Not seeing it happen. She is still, especially after the news about Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth weekend as well, by the way. Yeah, nah. Nah. Rhea Ripley taking on Charlotte Flair, Raw Women's Championship. Do not see Rhea Ripley losing this title. I just, under no circumstance do I see it happening. Now, if you maybe, want to kind of do some type of a little swerve or whatever, I could maybe see Charlotte Flair winning by disqualification. I could maybe see something like that. That is, if you want to continue things on with Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, but I'm not seeing the title change hands. Bobby Lashley taking on MVP, last chance Hell in a Cell match for the WWE Championship. WWE's getting ready to go back live. Drew McIntyre never did really truly have that definitive championship run in front of fans. So do you maybe go back to Drew McIntyre? Or do you stay the course with Lashley? I say you stay the course with Lashley. Everything is finally coming together. And who knows? Not for nothing. Who knows? Maybe you can figure out some type of a way to get the Hurt Business back together just in time for the live events. Be able to sell even more merchandise, make more money, all that good stuff. But I think it would be kind of silly to have Lashley lose the championship. I really do. I mean, everything has just come full circle. Just everything just, this is one of the best, well-received angles, superstars by the fans, by a majority of the fans in WWE. They're loving what's going on with Lashley. And WWE has been paying attention to the social media engagements, the forums. They're paying attention to what's being said about their talent. So, why would you go to reversal and, why would you do that? What is it all about? What? What's the game plan here? What are you trying to do here? Are you trying to maybe do a Drew Lashley rematch at SummerSlam, and maybe you have Lashley, what's the gain? What's going on within that 90-day window? What's going on in that 6-month window? If you were to kind of flip it and go back to Drew. You have Drew lose. What's next for Drew? Drew obviously goes to the back of the line. That's obviously what's going to happen with him. So you have him go back to the back of the line. What? Do you maybe have him chase after the Intercontinental Champion? Do you maybe do that? Or depending on when the WWE draft is going to be going down, do you maybe take Drew McIntyre off of Raw, and do you maybe insert him over on SmackDown and ultimately have him go chase after Roman Reigns and that Universal Championship? Do you maybe have him go do that? Do you maybe have Edge come back into play? Do you have Edge maybe chase after Lashley? Yeah, this is interesting what's going on here. But for me personally, I'm going with Lashley. I'm going with Lashley for the retain. I would be truly disappointed and heartbroken if McIntyre were to fucking walk out as a champion. All right, so once again, I'm looking at Cesaro defeating Rollins, Sami Zayn defeating Kevin Owens, Alexa Bliss defeating Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair retaining her women's title over Bayley, Charlotte Flair picking up a W somehow via disqualification countout, but Rhea Ripley retains. I can even see a double countout too, but somehow Rhea basically retains. And then Bobby Lashley retaining the WWE Championship in that last chance Hell in a Cell match against Drew McIntyre. That's pretty much how I'm looking at, but a pretty predictable card. If there was maybe one match, I would say, okay, there could be a swerve right here. A swerve. Bayley versus Bianca Belair. For the simple chase is better than the catch. Bianca chasing after Bayley with the, Bayley as a champion. If I were to put a swerve, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I was saying, but, try saying that 10 times fast. But if I were to look at one particular match and say, it could be a swerve right here. That's the only match I'm looking at where I'd say put a swerve right there. That's how I'm looking at it. Remember, we're going to be doing that Hell in a Cell post show this Sunday. We'll be live. We'll have the phone lines open, all that. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. All right. So meantime, that's gonna do it, man. Stick a fork in it. We're going to call this show DONE done. And make sure, if you haven't done so already, as you guys are getting ready to make your kind exits, please, once again, leave that like, share, all that good stuff all throughout social media. It helps tremendously. You can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR show. And let me just poke my head. Shout out to those of you that were live, that actually checked out the show. And interesting. What's going on here? What's this about? What's going on here? What's going on here? Nothing. Okay, nothing. No, I thought I was seeing something new I might be able to share with you guys here on the show, but no. We're actually good. We're actually good. But yeah, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, use the keywords, the RCWR show. And that is going to do it. So remember, Sunday, LSL post show, and then Monday, a new RCWR show after Raw goes off the air. A lot of stuff that we'll be diving into, man. I'm looking forward, particularly on that Monday show, I'm looking forward to talking about AEW and those latest number figures that came out, as AEW is still seeing red. I know everybody wants to hit that panic button and all that other. We'll make sense out of it all on Monday's show. But shout out to everybody that had tuned in live. Shout out to those that's going to be checking this out for on demand. And as far as the downloads go, give me about 90 minutes because I'm going to stretch out for a little bit, catch up with the misses. And I'll have the audio version definitely be up way before midnight. Okay, so it'll be available wherever you get your podcast. All right, thank you so much, and once again, happy Father's Day to you fellas out there. Hopefully you enjoy Sunday. That's your day. For those of you that are going to be taking that time to reflect on, maybe those that's no longer with us, on Father's Day, definitely I'm keeping you in mind within good spirits. All right. Hopefully come Monday show, we'll have, if not a little bit more information about that news that I was ready to share with you guys. Hopefully as we get closer to, hopefully within the next 3 weeks, I'll know a little more. Yeah. But fingers crossed. We'll see what happens. All right. That's going to do it. Please be safe. Please be kind to one another. I will see you guys next go around. Be well, my friends. Take care.